to McDonald's. May I take your order?
Hey, can I get the $1 McChicken sandwich? That's everything.
106, first window, please.
Okay, thank you. So my oldest subscriber, Lombardo, asked me, how do I afford to eat out with all my losses? And the answer to that question is real simple. Like most Americans, I just have a ton of credit card debt.
I just want all of the money. Do you know what I said? I gotta get the dinero, the cash, and the bread. Money. Do you know what I'm saying?
I bought this sometime last week. This was my average price on AMD. I wanted to place a bet on earnings. I'm starting to second guess my bet right now because of the semiconductor space. You know, honestly, I don't even feel like selling it either because I've sold covered call options against AMD. This week, AMD reported earnings. I held 1,500 shares and I wrote 15 covered calls against that position. Now, the value of the covered calls actually gives me some downside protection on AMD in case the earnings did not come out that good. By the way, if you don't follow along with the covered call strategy, leave a comment down below and I'll do a full video on it. So the big downside, however, with the covered call strategy is very relevant here with the AMD trade. I take it AMD has announced some very good earnings. Unfortunately, I have a covered call on this at a strike price of 29.5. As you guys can see from the after hours footage with AMD, you see the stock price has shot up well above $29.50, which is quite a bit above the price I paid for it. A lot of times this happens during earnings where after market hours the stock moves tremendously in either direction. And a lot of people like to trade the stock at this price. So I would have liked to have sold my AMD stock after hours when the price shot up above $29.50, but I couldn't because I didn't want my covered calls in AMD to be naked calls. Naked call options are essentially call options on stock that you don't own. I strongly advise most people not to do it. Even people who have been trading in the markets for decades, I still recommend not to do it. Case in point, James Cordier, optionsellers.com. Not just calling him out, but a lot of other people have lost, fortunes with selling naked call options. So in regards to AMD, I'm fairly bullish on the stock, and I think it has much better technology at this present moment than its closest competitor, Intel. I actually believe in the name, at least for the next 3 to 5 years. Technology like AMD and a lot of the semiconductor industry in general runs in a cyclical process. Once a company discovers a new technology or a new beneficial technology in the space, they typically have runaway profits for a considerable amount of time. Intel had runaway profits for a long time. And then it still has valuable technology. Some companies are tied to contracts and things like that, which is why Intel stock is not going to fall down to zero. But AMD is now eating away at Intel's market share, and I think it will continue to eat away at Intel's market share for quite some time. So I'll continue to be bullish on AMD until Intel comes out with its next generation of tech. And then we'll reassess AMD at that point in time. My big trade of the week is, of course, AMD. AMD announced great earnings. I have 1,500 shares of that. I bought it at a cost average of $28.11, maybe like a week back or so. But beyond that, and this was actually how I made my money on AMD, is I sold covered call options that are essentially worth nothing right now. They have no shot of going in the money. So, okay, I made about $1,400 on this. AMD was my big trade of the week, and keep in mind, guys, I like to show you guys my biggest winners and losers of the week. It keeps the vlog interesting rather than going through all the little trades. This should still give you a realistic idea of what it's like to be a trader. It's not wins all the time. And if I wasn't a profitable trader, I wouldn't show you guys my losses. I would try to sell you a course instead. So Lombardo, I hope I earned myself this McChicken this week, and I'll see you guys next week for some more trades.